So when you like the critical race theory stuff, I can't address every single one of those things because I don't actually know the context for each of them. But I'll just take critical race theory as an example. There's a bunch of parents who are concerned about critical race theory in schools of like all backgrounds, including black parents.
When there's no evidence that it's actually being taught in schools.
Well, this is a pedagogical question. It's basically that you take the principles of critical race theory and they're applied in academics at all levels, rather than teaching critical race theory in schools, right? That's not the
right. Some fourth grade teacher with just a college education knows critical race theory because she studied at law school or in graduate school.
No,
that's where they teach critical race theory.
That's a fair critique. Let me stretch it out. What I'm talking about is kind of the race essentialism that's being referred to as a catch-all as critical race theory. Is that fair?
Okay, fine.
Okay, so what I mean by that is like in telling kids that their destiny is determined by their race. And so there's a lot of parents who are very concerned about that and the way that those conversations take place inside of the classroom and certainly with the teachers. So they've been raising their voices about it. I don't think that's particularly anti-Black. I think it's pro-human to be concerned about those things.
Why weren't they concerned 6 months ago or 2 years ago? They've been told it's part of a fear-mongering campaign to gain points. And right now, the anti-Black movement is very strong. It's like, so why all of a sudden, critical race? Because they're watching all these videos. They're watching Fox News that's telling, this is the devil. Look, they're telling you you're evil, 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 evil. Critical race theory, evil, evil. So that's all it is. It's another smear campaign that they're consumed by because they keep being told this is going to get your kids. It's going to make your kids hate themselves. No kids going home hating themselves. It's all part of the fear scam. So and everybody watching this from that angle, they go, no, you're wrong. They told a white person he was evil. Who? They find one bad person. It's the same thing they do with riots. It's the same thing they do with anything. They find the one bad person that did one thing or one teacher that said something stupid, and they'll say that's the whole thing of critical race theory. It's propaganda, and it's pick and choose sensationalism clips to scare people. And look, there's one guy, what state is it, where he's trying to ban like 150 books, like
800.
It's 800 books.
It's 850.
And all these free speech right-wingers, we're freedom of speech. They're not complaining about that. They're told, Dr. Zeus. They tried to ban Dr. Zeus. but what about the 800 books that they're trying to ban? That's LBGT, and pro-Black books, or not even pro-Black, just historical books. They're trying to ban these books in schools, and none of the right-wingers complain about it. They don't care, because if they're banning something that they're not into, they're all for it. But then they complain about, ban, cancel culture, it's a fake fraud,
Well, I agree with you. There's definitely some of that for sure. And I honestly think that's a bipartisan issue. It's like your standards change the moment it works to your advantage.
I agree.
I definitely concede that point. I just think that there's a danger here in being too reductive. It's so if one, kind of like you mentioned that a lot of this gets brought up in a political season. Things that are political are not all inherently bad, right? So politics is the way we redress grievances in a society. We kind of handle the things that we debate. So of course, you're going to point to problems and say, hey, there should be a political solution to this. So you're right. Sometimes the volume is going to turn up on various problems in society ahead of an election. The question then becomes like, is it real or is it being trumped up? Is it fake? And that's a perfectly good question. But like, for instance, call it like, I don't know if you use the word, but like pointing to like the riots that we've seen in the United States, there were actually a lot of people's lives that were affected by it. And typically they were the people who lived in the most vulnerable communities in our country, the kinds of places that mostly get ignored by the media. There were actually billions of dollars of insurance claims that were made in these cities for the damage that was done there. And more importantly, there were dozens of lives actually lost, including and especially Black lives that were lost during the riots last year.
Hi, I'm Jason Nichols, and I'm on the left.
And I'm Vince Coglianese, and I'm on the right. And if we can't find common ground in this world today,
then we're all just travelers.
Passing each other in an international airport.
In this great American experiment,
we'll be relegated to the trash bin of history.
So let's come together
to debate without yelling, and let's save this nation.